Testing 1, 2, volume. Hey. Man, see. We're coming, don't worry. All these sources of audio. Bring me in. Let's lower this a little bit. Hello, everybody, if anyone's joined yet. We're scheduled for a 3:30 start. Just wanted to get this going live. Drum up a little bit of people in here. Hello, whoever's here. Just trying to get my audio right before we start taking all these calls. If you know. If you don't, you don't. We got 6 people calling in. We're talking free thinking all day. We're going to be thinking about coronavirus. We're going to be thinking about what's going on. I've been thinking personally about what's going on in these people's neighborhoods where they live, what it's like in other parts of the world. Over here in New Jersey, I only see my own little neighborhood because obviously I'm not traveling anywhere. I got friends in New York. I got friends in California. I got friends in Maine. I got friends in Paris. I got friends in Florida. We're having them all come on all at once. We're all going to chat, and we're going to talk about what it's like in our own communities and see where we end up. It's going to be great. In the meantime, just getting some soothing background music ready for our lovely guests. And make sure all my stuff works here, because my broadcasting rig seemingly been shitting the bed, as they say recently. Technical difficulties, but it's all right. Should be good to go, especially with the call when everyone gets live. So as I get them set up on my remote call, and I'll just be punching off of here, we'll be coming back. 3:30 is what I told everyone we're going to be live. So again, just setting up now, just saying hello, taking your calls. Are we taking calls today? I don't think we're taking calls. I think calls in the 5 people chatting, 6 people talking at once would be too much. But if you get through on the line, you know the number, good for you. We'll put you on. If not, stick around for the number next time. in the chat. Typey type. We'll answer your questions. I got it right here in front of me, and I'll be talking to them. You'll be talking to them if you want via chat. Should be cool. I'm excited to just do a roundtable with some people. You know, it's been socially isolating. So it'll be nice to get in with some people, see what's going on. Sit tight. We'll be back in and out. Enjoy this soothing, royalty-free music. And fade, fade, fade away. Testing. Testing. Just playing with levels here, everybody. Bear with me. I know this is very exciting to watch. Level adjustment. Grab a beverage. We'll be chatting soon with our friends. I'm going to need to go offline once they start calling in around 3:30. Like I said, I just wanted to get the stream up so we can start chatting, taking questions for people around the world regarding anything, really. But we said we were going to talk about this insanity everyone's feeling right now. So sit tight while I tweak. That's tweak, not twerk. So let's see here. All right. Wish I had sidechain audio on here. I can only do so much. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Just thinking out loud, you know. You know how we do. I'll leave it like this for now until I get them to call in, and then we'll go again. Just getting this all going here. Like I said, 3:30. Told all these cats to get on the line. Just wanted to go live early. You know how it is. Get your name out there. Get in the list so people can watch you. It's going to be great. Very excited to talk to some people that I haven't talked to. Bounce back and forth between my bum bumper music here. Fantastic. Alrighty, like I said. Alright, looking good. Once we get them dialed in, I just gotta tweak. Looking good though. Alright, like I said, we'll be back at 3:30. That's when the show goes live. I'll leave you with this music loop. It'll be fantastic. When you start hearing the audio cut out, you know we're tweaking. We'll be back in a minute. So sit tight. Back in a few. Just getting everyone dialed in. We'll be on in a few. Whoever's there. Sit tight. There we go. Yeah, I had no sound on my stream. Oh, even better. That's better. Well, we're back. Thanks for the heads up. So we're all here now. I think I have you all dialed in sound-wise. So why don't we just go around the table and introduce each other, or yourselves rather. You couldn't introduce each other. And I guess kick it off where you're from and what you do-ish. And we'll just start a conversation about what it's like near you. So I don't know who wants to start. Any volunteers over there? All right, real cool. We'll start in whoever's in the top left. Who's top left? I can't see.
Jeremy Corpus from California.
There he is. Oh, last name and everything. This isn't a police interview. I hear you. You're pretty low, but I could probably tweak you out. Hold on.
Hold on, I could probably get up.
Yeah, you're a little low in the mix. Everyone else, someone else chat. I think it's just you being low.
Okay, I'll start.
There you go. Rebecca, give it off. Kick it off.
Hi, I'm Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys. I know Bill and I know Matt, but yeah, I work in a restaurant, so I don't work currently. When I do work, I'm a wine professional, but now I'm just hanging out in Brooklyn.
BK baby. Very nice. Yeah, Rebecca's good people, so she's going to be good. New York, what's the word we use here? Contributor? Correspondent? Boots on the ground? I don't know. I don't even know what we call it.
Good.
Yeah.
Representative.
Representative. We got a representative from New York. I wish I had like a banner underneath.
Next show.
Yeah, who's up? Someone else go. Volunteer. This
How
isn't
about this?
this isn't like school. That
Does that
sounds
work?
so much better, dude. There you go.
Yeah.
That's killer. Could you tell us about yourself, Jeremy? Where are you from, fella? Or not. You could just talk.
Okay, is it me now?
No, you sound good. Yeah, go ahead. Introduce yourself. You hear us fine?
Yeah, I hear you guys fine.
Cool. Yeah, you sound better now.
Jeremy Corpus from San Francisco, California.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah. I manage a music venue for a living with closed, and I make music. I do copyright-free material for YouTube.
We listened to it earlier. Thank you for your contributions. Cool. So there's a California representative out there. There he is. Being Mad Cali. Was it 3:10 noon over there? 3:10 noon. Real good. Who else is not good with numbers these days?
Nice.
You made him leave.
Who do we got down there? Where's the Florida correspondent checking in? Tell me about Florida. What's going on down there?
Well, Florida's Florida, so
That's all we
already a
need.
shit
Florida
show.
man. We got Florida man on the line.
yeah, he's gonna be the one to save us all, man.
Florida man's gonna find the cure in a crocodile neck or
The
something.
meth
In a meth lab.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you over the bath salts craze yet, or is that still lingering?
Yeah, you guys are.
Yeah.
You guys are four.
Yeah,
you guys are
those
four
sold out.
traumas behind us still. I think you're not gonna hear about COVID-19 for another 2-3 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do you do
So,
down? What do you do down there now?
Nick Benitez here.
Mm.
Going to school at the University of Miami. I'm a musician, mainly trumpet. Make music, teach music, survive the apocalypse.
Live that life. Yeah, that's a huge. That's a job these days.
Yeah, well, doing anything in restaurant or music or any sort of entertainment is not a job. So
Well, to survive now, you have to be lazy. That's what they tell you to do. The
Yeah,
lazier you
I'm
are, the
fucked.
more you're surviving. So really strange times. Who didn't we get to yet?
Yes.
Mr. Paris himself. There he is on my screen. Talk to me.
Hello.
Talk to me, France man.
So Kyle. I'm from New Jersey. Went to college with Matt and Bill.
Hey.
And, I've been living in France for the last 7 years, and we're on lockdown.
France is on the lockdown. Who else did we miss here?
The Maida.
There he is. The Maina, the man from Maine. Where's your beard? Your beard is.
My beard's good.
That's not a Maine beard, dude.
No, I had to trim it, but like once.
You
I've
don't
been
look.
here
You don't look like
months, I
you don't
trimmed
look
it
like a
once.
makeshift lumberjack. But go on. Who are you?
It's
Oh,
a little too warm
no.
for flannel today, but I don't know. It's like people are busting out their shorts here. It's weird. Very strange. A lot of cargo shorts.
Yeah, it's really nice out here
But
today.
yeah, so I'm Matt. I live in Maine. I know a couple of these. I'm gonna say jabronis because that's a great
for lack
throwback.
of a
I know a
better
couple of these
term.
jabronis from school and other places back in the New York region. Been in Maine for 7 months. I do software product strategy and game design, so I'm pretty mobile, and I'm pretty employed, which is an interesting perspective. I know that's not the case for a lot of folks right now. So
Yeah, most people, that is definitely not the case.
yeah.
All right, cool. So that's just a little bit about everybody. That's very cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a beer because it seems like the right thing to do. Because what I would usually do when I'm hanging out with any of you guys would be eating and drinking copiously. So this is the closest thing to a social interaction. I'm going to pop this Sammy Smith's organic lager, pop it, and I'm going to have this, and this is going to be my beverage. I don't know if you guys are indulging.
That's outstanding.
Some of you are on the clock right now, so I don't know. I don't want to make you.
Was Sammy Smith the official first brewery to go organic? Because they had that organic one for
Ever, dude.
probably
It might
20
be.
years now.
My beer knowledge isn't so strong, but I mean, this beer has been around before. Like, I could even legally drink. Like, this beer's been around. So,
Right.
I mean, I looked
of
this
my
up last time we were
I
doing it.
remember
We looked it up. It's
that was
definitely
such a selling point on Fish Tour too. Is the
definitely
organic head
definitely
lager.
heady organic lagers. The thing is, it's so good though. It's like really so goddamn good. Anyway, so cheers to you guys. Thank you for joining. This should be a fun little chat. So I don't know if you're all drinking something. Salud. So I am at the Billy Vegas, and I'm based in New Jersey right now. And I set up this streaming lab a couple months ago, doing food things with Hack Chef and some shows down here in the basement. And since the lockdown COVID-19 situation, it really got me to go into overdrive in the past like 2 weeks on this and really doing all kinds of shit. So I got it dialed in pretty good down here. That's why, anyone who wants to get going, we could just bang it out. So this should be fun. I guess what I wanted to talk about and what I would, go around the table is, what is it like by you? Like, we hear, I don't watch too much TV in the way of like the headlines and get down in the news stories because it's almost too much at this point. But what I kind of pay attention to around here locally is like I'll put on like, channel 2, 3, 5, 7, whatever it is, and just watch in the morning like the quick interviews that they have, or press conferences rather, with like the governor. So I'll see Cuomo a lot in New York, and I'll see the guy from Jersey, I forget his name. But those two dudes, that's pretty much who I see all the time. Like, I'm not seeing the president out there a lot, but I see these two dudes, and like politically, maybe I don't even line up with them. Yes or no, it doesn't make a difference. They're doing, I think, a good job management-wise. But the sense that I get from them when I see them on TV, in the headlines, COVID-19 stuff, they're talking about like, don't panic, and they're stressing that they don't have enough equipment. And one of the most distressing things I saw the other day was Cuomo, the guy from the governor of New York, saying straight up, like people ask him, how many beds, how many respirators, this and that. And I don't know the ins and outs of the medical stuff, but obviously that sounds like shit we need: beds, respirators, health. And he's just like, look, we don't have enough and people are going to die. Sorry, next question. Like, he just flat out kind of said it like that. And that's not political at all or anything like that. It's just really interesting that like people are dropping shit like that. I thought that was very interesting because I've never seen anything like that before. So that's my like East Coast New Jersey take. Rebecca, I'm going to guess your take is a little similar with that. So maybe someone who's not in our immediate East Coast area, what are your like people around you saying? Like, what's the feel? Like by your upper management, by governors? Do you see that shit on your TV? Are you not watching that? Are you just talking to your neighbors? Like, what's going on out by you?
Yeah, I mean, Newsom, our governor, has kind of, I think he's been using the lack of hospital beds as his indicator for how much trouble we're in.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't quite said that straight out that, hey, we're going to have to start picking who is going to die, who's going to live. But he increases his numbers as time goes on, and I think that's like his kind of his line. At first we were 20,000 beds short, then I think it was 30,000 beds short, now we're 60,000 beds short. So I think just that scaling itself is saying, oh shit, we're fucked. I think that's kind of the best way that he could do it without coming straight out like Cuomo did.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, and it makes me wonder, like, taking a step back from this, like, how they actually operate. Because the president said shit like, I get on these calls with the governors. Like, does he have, like, a 9 a.m., like, 50-person conference call, one governor on the state, and they just start chatting about, like, strategy? Like, that's what I hear when he says shit like that. And, do you think that the governors have, like, some kind of united strategy? Like, all right, look, we know death number is going to be huge. This is going to be a bad scene. Or it's going to be good, like, whatever it is. But here's how we manage it. Here's the message we have to tell people. Like, we have to start telling them it's going to be bad now because in 2 weeks it's going to get worse.
Yeah, I mean, well, New York is such a good. I mean, New York kind of calling itself the epicenter, I think, is probably one of not trying to say a positive, but I think like the rest of the country uses New York as kind of its bar.
Yeah.
So I think when New York is at first going like we're in trouble, I think that kind of just like sends panic, and not panic, but I think it sends a message to the rest of the country that this is coming your way, and we can't handle it. And if we can't handle it, how are you going to handle it?
That's definitely the sense that I got from the New York messaging too. Like,
and I think like also what happens when I would like to, I mean, not like to think, but I think that there's probably some kind of pecking order when it comes to like who's going to talk to the president first.
Mm-hmm.
New York being probably the top of that list, Washington D.C. probably being number 2, and then so forth. I guess with like size and popularity in the nation, and then he dishes out the help that way, and then hopes that maybe like that trickles down to the rest of the country, kind of like what Cuomo's saying, like help us first, give us the ventilators,
and I'll take care of it.
We're done. We'll pay to ship them out and pay it forward that way.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels when I watch it and get the my headline kickoff for the day, as I like to call it, and then I kind of punch out and then just watch.
I mean, he's definitely not having a daily call with the guy from Rhode Island right now.
No,
it's
yeah,
like,
I don't.
That's not,
Yeah, I don't think so. What's it? What do you feel like up in Maine? What's it like up there in the north? So cold in the north.
The cases aren't. I haven't looked at a chart of the cases, but
I have. I actually have. I know you guys can't see the stream, but I have up. I've been using worldometers.info for coronavirus numbers, so I actually have country and state numbers. Not that we need to be referencing numbers, but this is like one thing I check every day, and it's scarily
as of
goes
today,
up
it's
every
like
day.
155, and I don't know how that changed over the past couple of weeks. The problem with Maine, like a lot of other parts of the country, is that the testing capacity is low. So the officially reported caseload is going up moderately, so it doesn't look that bad, but no one can get tested. And we know people who have been basically told by doctors, like, okay, well, you don't have the flu, so you probably have COVID, but I can't get you tested because the FDA's regulations or the CDC's regulations are too stringent. Like, you're not on your deathbed, so we're not going to give you a test, which totally defeats the purpose of testing, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you think you have it, you should know whether or not you have it so you can quarantine properly and not spread it. They're basically going, stay home, you probably have it, but we don't have tests, so sorry.
Right. Same. But
it doesn't seem like I don't see panic. In a more densely populated area, I would say that it's probably easier to detect levels of panic. But here, people are they're cool. They either don't care, or they're cool about it, or they're taking the necessary precautions and just kind of living their lives. There's no one like. I haven't walked by anyone who's like, get away from me, you're too close. Everybody's just like, hi, nice to see you. Glad you're over there protecting yourself like I am.
How many people live in your direct area?
I'm in the Portland area, so Portland is a city of 65,000 people. The surrounding area, probably another 20,000 or so within all the counties around.
And we'll get to the numbers for Maine. And
not much.
The total cases in Maine is 155. And
as of this morning.
That's including 13 cases new today. This site updates like at midnight GMT, so just call it for the sake of that argument.
Yep.
13 new today. As opposed to California, total cases 3,300 almost, with 250 new today. And New Jersey, now these numbers, see, that's the thing with these numbers. Like New Jersey, almost 7,000 total cases, new cases 2,500. That's just because they literally started testing like 3 days ago. These people probably had it and shit. The amount of active cases is, well, it says 6,000, but the other number I use on here is, well, they had a serious number. I guess that's a country number. They call them serious numbers. I don't know. What about down in Florida? What's it like down there? Are people scared? People worried?
Nobody gives a shit, man.
No, like legit. Like, are you leaving your? Like, is it legit? The vibe down there is like people are like whatever, and people are not social distancing.
Yeah, well, okay, so obviously restaurants are doing the whole takeout thing.
So there's
they finally shut down the beaches.
Is that all of the country? Is there no restaurant or I can't go sit in a restaurant anymore?
Don't know.
I feel like they were trying to push that, and there was like one state, I want to say last week, that was still like, oh, well, we're thinking about shutting down the restaurants. And they're like, dude, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Like Idaho. Like,
yeah.
Don't worry about Idaho.
Because it's really it's really interesting. Because it's like, think about it. Like, they can't necessarily, like I say, they is like a really weird word to use, right? Because it's like, I like a conspiracy theory as much as the next guy, but like they can't just tell you to close your doors and not serve, so you kind of have to comply. And that was another thing I saw in the New York, New Jersey stuff. Like they were saying, all these restaurants have to close, and and you can't be on the roads unless you have something vital or you're essential to the cause or whatever. And the governor of New Jersey, this is probably a week ago at this point, a reporter asked him, so what are you going to do if you're pulling someone over and they're not essential or they're doing whatever the hell they want? They don't have to be out. And they went to the state police commissioner, and he was like, look, we have prosecutors on call, and we're going to prosecute. And I was like, you're not fucking prosecuting some dude who's, like, going to go to his friend's house? That seems insane. But maybe that's where this goes. It's kind of weird. Let me ask, Rebecca, you, like, you're in Brooklyn, so it's super densely populated by you, right? And you're not, like, around here, like, in New Jersey, they're trying to keep people out of cars and stuff like that. So what's it like? Are there people on the ground, like, walking either more or less now? Are the streets more populated, less populated with people?
So I live really close to Prospect Park, and I've never seen the park as busy as it's been the past few weeks.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, but I know that people,
Bad.
myself included, like, we want to get out of the house. The gyms are closed. There's really nothing to do to like keep your activity up.
Yeah,
At the restaurant, I would average like 6 miles a night, and so I'm just sort of going stir crazy by not walking so much. So I live right around the corner from a bagel place that's been open, and they're doing takeout, and they've been like consistently busy. But they have little X's marked in the sidewalk, like 6 feet apart. They've got little spots on the inside as well. So people, I think, are taking it seriously. Like, I can still go up to a window and order coffee from somebody if I wanted to, but I just think that there's like a line between social distancing and then trying to keep people open and keep people like in jobs, that it's like a fine line to walk, but I think we're trying our best to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like, dual purpose, right? Because like in my head, I mean, I obviously have great sympathy for the whole restaurant industry, and like it's brutal. Like, this changes the game in so many ways for so many industries, but the restaurant and hospitality industry, huge, But I think, like, are we going to look back and go, wow, maybe, like, when you read the story about this in the future, we'll be like, wow, maybe we shouldn't have had places open where people could just even go and get food. But in cities and shit, especially New York and stuff, like, people don't cook. If you have an apartment and shit and you're in a skyrise, you're not cooking a dinner for yourself. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, people just don't even have the space there. And so, cooking is legit like a joke to some people who live in the city. So the need of food service is huge. In a place that's like suburban, maybe it's a little less so, and that's just a thing to keep the economy moving, which also we need too. You can't just put the brakes on. So it is good to have these places opening, doing some kind of business.
That's true. And then to speak to that, I live really close to a grocery store, and I haven't experienced like tons of shortages. I remember 2 weeks ago I couldn't find hand soap, which was a little telling, but they haven't run out of toilet paper. Sometimes they'll run out of like chicken or ground beef or things like that, but people aren't panic buying because we're able to keep, I think, ordering food, and so it's
that helps. That definitely eases that up. Has anyone here found that there's like an issue with supplies? Because at least by me, it's really not an issue. Like the first week, last week, stores were going a little crazy. Like the normal food store I went in to get like core essentials, and things were fine. And then when I went to Whole Foods, everything was ransacked like it was the end of the world. And this was like early in the game. And I was like, wow, people are really committing to this, huh? And like people were just going nuts. Like people literally went to Whole Foods and just took shelves of shit. Like it was barren. Meanwhile, the normal store had everything. And I was like, oh, people who shop at Whole Foods are just panic mode crazies. Like, okay, I get that. That's fine. But most every normal store is fine.
I've seen a lot of, I just went to the store yesterday, and I went today because the store I went to yesterday didn't have, they had 3/4 of the stuff I needed. Most of the, all the packaged stuff, prepackaged goods were pretty well stocked. Their paper products were totally wiped. The weird part was they were out of a lot of fresh vegetables. So there was no garlic. That was like that last week when I went to.
Right.
So there's no garlic. A lot of the lettuce and fresh greens were gone. So
they only buy so much. They only buy, and that was at Whole Foods. Like they only buy so much of that stuff.
No, that was at the other sort of like local northeastern chain.
Right.
And I was like, all right. It was the Hannaford's. Yeah, it was Hannaford's. Yeah,
what the hell is Hannaford's? I've never heard of Henny's. What is that?
I went down to Hanny's.
What is that?
It's a New England grocery store chain.
You guys, I didn't know you guys all had this big New England heritage in you. Okay.
Yeah, so they were pretty cleaned out of that stuff, And then I went to Whole Foods, and by the way, they were doing almost no like institutionalized social distancing. Nobody was wearing a mask. Nobody working there was like, oh, stand over here, please, or stand behind the line. Everybody was just business as usual. It's just basically like,
Right.
oh, you need that stuff? I go look in the back for you, whatever. So I'm like, all right, there's no like fresh chicken or anything. There's just a bunch of like 50-pound bags of chicken wings. And I'm like, that's all you got for chicken? Great.
Where's the problem?
All right. I know. I was like, that's fine, but I'm gonna want some chicken thighs and breast and all that. So, all right. So I'm like, I'll go to Whole Foods in the morning. I went this morning. They were totally stocked. There were very few things that were picked over, but they had extreme social distancing procedures. There were signs. There were people telling you which way to walk, reminding you to like, don't touch the things if you don't have to.
I think that's
there was one-way entrance and exit, and I had to bag my own groceries because I brought my own bag. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. If you bring your own bag, you have to bag your own groceries. I'm like, I don't care, but okay. Everybody's very like hardcore about it. And it was super clean, but I thought it was like almost over the top the amount that they were like practicing this. And I'm like, this can't last forever.
There's a place by me that was practicing social distancing in a very strange way. So you wait in a line like a normal person with no rules, but when you get up to the register, she was going, can you go stand over there, please? And there was like a line of tape, like you had a mark. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went and stood over there, and I was like, all right, well, I mean, this is better than nothing. Like, I'm not mad at this. And she rang me up, and she's like, all right, $20 or whatever. And like, I walk up with my credit card, and then she just stood there. And I was like, well, you're not really doing your part. You're supposed to. I was like, are you going to go over there? She's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, well, what the fuck? Why are you even doing this? I was like, you're just trying to do it now. You're just trying to be cool. But yeah, supplies over here, at least in the East Coast, in Jersey, is not so bad. Do you find any kind of supply shortage out? What's it like in France there? Craziness? Or?
So I'd say it's kind of an interesting. I was in Asia in January. So like when it was kicking off in like I was in Bangkok and I was in Laos. So plucky Laos still has 0 cases. So
you were in Laos when? End of February-ish?
Yeah, so I was in.
Because let's just benchmark. This whole thing started like in January in China, right? That's the word. And
so
now then it started moving
December,
and then it started moving places mid-February, and March 1 kind of we started worrying about it in America, at least. That is a rough timeline. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds right.
So the first case that they're talking about is in China in the end of November.
Yeah.
And then I was in Thailand, Laos, and Singapore from January, like beginning of January to end of January.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the first couple days when we got to Bangkok, I was like, this is weird. I'm the only person on the street without a mask. And then it was like, first it was for the pollution, and then it was like, this is the only mask that's going to kind of protect you against these hordes of tourists from a certain hotspot where the disease is emanating from. And so it was like, it's kind of weird watching it like go home and then watch it come here. And now we've been locked down for like the last 10 days or last week. Wednesday, I went to go to the store like afternoon, trying to go like not peak. There are no friggin' eggs.
Oh no!
So it's like no eggs, no lardon.
A Frenchman with no eggs and lardon. You might as well jump out of les windows.
I mean, it's like. It's like
that's good, right?
If other people strike, but
I laughed.
And there, the same, like no lettuce or anything.
All right, so like nothing critical though, right? Nothing like, oh shit, I'm screwed. I can't get you can't get your eggs or lettuce, but you still had food. We're not at that point where it's like you got to be in panic mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the restrictions?
So you have to go outside with a permission slip.
What? What is that?
Middle school field trip? What is
that? A hall pass?
Oh, it gets better.
Hold on. So where's that paper? Where's that paper from?
Slip.
Who issued you that paper?
The government.
The papers? Do you have the papers?
Yeah. So I have the papers, and you take the paper, and you like write your information on it, and then even better, you sign it, and so like you can leave your house if you're doing like professional stuff, if you're going to like buy goods, if you have like a health appointment, if you're helping like kids or older people,
right?
And then my favorite part is that I can leave the house for 1 hour a day with a radius of 1 kilometer from my house to
Oh.
do an exercise of an hour tops.
Wow.
Ah.
So that's from France. The French government gave you that.
Yes,
And
the
when
French
did
government.
they start? This is the first I've heard of something like that. I
Yeah.
figured we're heading there somewhere like that, but that's crazy that's going on right now. So when did
Yeah.
you get that? How long did they do that?
I would say we went into a lockdown, and it was like the same thing. You need to like have a paper, you need to say where you're going.
And that was when?
And,
Sorry, I think your mic cut out for a second. When did the
that was,
lockdown start?
The 17th.
Okay.
I'm gonna change rooms. I get a lot of echo. And
Yeah, you're a little echoey, but it's all right. It's not the end of the world. Oh, here we go.
so like
I still hear you.
we're going mobile.
So 17th, that's like a week and change ago, and then within a week and change, you got papers at least, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it was
I feel like I'm watching like a SWAT team raid right now. As like you're going through the house, very short. Yeah,
Rainbow Six.
yeah. So it's like a Rainbow Six. Yeah, that's what it feels like. So you actually
So,
got. This is really crazy to me because this is the first I've heard of that. So do tell me more. So the
Yeah.
17th,
So
they said you need papers to leave, so sit in your house so you get your papers.
17th, it was like 17th midnight. Restaurants and bars are closing. Lockdown. And so it started out with the like you could have like brief leave from your house to
Mhm.
go and do like workouts. But then the problem was that it's France, so like everything is just abused.
Of course.
So there was an interesting instance where the Minister of Sports tweeted out that you can run max 2 kilometers.
What?
Like you're like, yeah, I'm going
Minister
for a
of
run,
Sports.
but you could go 2 kilometers. And then I was like, wait, are we legislating by Twitter?
This
Is
is
this
like
really
a Monty
what's
Python
happening?
Welcome
skit.
to
I don't
America,
know.
Yeah.
dude. You're just like
Welcome to
America
France,
now.
bro.
It's just like America now.
Yeah.
We do all
So
our
then,
diplomacy on Twitter.
But it's like it's interesting watching a government change management on like your people. So like they started off with like a speech on the TV, like the president like gave a speech, and then like kind of said what was going to happen, and then a couple days later, they like had the prime minister say that they were going to change it and like give more detail because basically, I mean, like no one knows what the fuck they're doing, so
Right.
they're trying their best, but it's not really going well.
Right.
And like make the French happy. Good luck. So now we're in lockdown until at least the 29th, and then there's like a
week? They said you're going to be.
no, it's 2 weeks. So it was like no 31st. Sorry,
All right.
31st.
They're going to
so
put.
2 weeks.
They were teasing stuff like that here too. They were saying, I don't know, like March 31st, and then we're going to check in on stuff. But obviously, we're going past that. Like nothing to me points that we're getting better.
Yeah, I
It
feel like
just-
the only way to get people to, to honestly like contain the virus is like for to actually work, but it's hard, like it's hard to, like this morning I woke up, there's construction going on across the street, like people are still working on roads and building things, and so it's hard to see like what your businesses are, like your essential businesses, and it's really crazy because here in New York, if you have a restaurant, the state liquor authority has changed it so that you're able to sell cocktails to go
Mm-hmm.
and also wine to go.
That's
so,
official in New York now.
Yeah.
Because I thought people.
Vegas.
I thought people
This
were
is
just.
the
I
best.
honestly thought people were just doing that, and like they were just going, this is okay. I didn't know that they actually changed the law for that.
Yeah, a lot of restaurants are trying to sell wine off of their wine list, and so they're marking it down to like the retail price,
Yeah.
just to like move inventory.
I
And
see that
know,
here. Yeah.
Some restaurants were able to like pick up inventory and pick up product to, because it would suck for the distributor to like, send you like 20 cases of wine and then you close and you're not going to be able to pay them. So a lot of
Yeah.
people
I mean, they,
product and then-
they again want the economy to still move. No one wants it to stand still. Like, yeah, you got to stay in place, but they still want you spending money. But the problem where this comes is like no one's gonna be. Most aren't making money. So where does that go? Like, yeah, I love wine as much as the next guy, but I can't be going down the street to buy a case at at wholesale price because I got checks coming in. What are you gonna do? I take my free government money and go blow it on wine? I might.
I
I mean,
think
I'm definitely gonna do that.
to keep people like in touch with people, but I know that like all of the retail shops, like New Year's Day, like holiday prices, not prices, but just making a shit ton of money, and it's it's great for them. And there's a local wine shop that is actually buying wine from restaurants that have closed
Just to move
and
it.
selling
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
I think is really
That's
legit.
great. Yeah, and I'm crazy. I'm shocked that they actually changed the law to do that. I literally thought the NYPD
Yeah,
was
I
just.
was walking yesterday and I got a margarita.
That's amazing. It makes me now that makes me just want to go to New York now unnecessarily and walk around the streets and drink margaritas because that just sounds like fun.
There are no craps tables there, so
That's a downer.
that's the issue.
We could still play virtual craps.
So everybody's been saying, this is the new normal,
What-
and I find that that's probably an overreaction or just a mischaracterization of what's happening. And we'll use food service because that's the topic, right? And I'm saddened by all the people who are struggling in food service right now. But what I think is going to happen is after, and we can talk recovery later. Let's just theoretically say that we're going to recover. There's going to be a nice recovery. It might be a little slow. It'll be full. Places will open back up. The ones that didn't make it, those people will figure something out.
Right.
But the ones that open back up, we'll go back to status quo, basically, with maybe some new regulations, right? Maybe some new fire codes that say, okay, you can't have as many people in an area as it used to. So you have to keep an eye on that. But I think there's always a silver line. There's always a we can be better after this situation. And one of those things is I think our response to things like this will be a lot more measured, will be a lot more directed and focused. It won't be as panicked. So places that do have to shut down won't have to shut down, either hard. There will be a framework in place after this so that if we get another pandemic, we just hit the pandemic button and everybody goes, okay, restaurants get this bailout and you close for this many days. And these are the procedures we use from now on. And then everybody, there's like an expectation of, okay, we can get through it because we did it before and now there's a framework and there's a distance. It's not just like chaos like it used to be at the first time. So
yeah,
the good news is we're going to learn and we're going to do it right, and we're going to have something in place that lets us do it better next time.
I kind of feel like we're still in a weird chaos mode. Like I still, we're talking about people choosing to socially distance or not in Florida versus Paris and France saying, here's your papers. You can only leave your house for X amount of time and radius a day. That's a big gap.
France is behind us. Like we're ahead of, or they've had the virus for longer.
Yeah.
And so everybody's just at a different stage.
Yeah.
And I haven't done all of my digging, but I know that there was some sort of pandemic, something that Trump dissolved in the cabinet. So it's maybe we would have had those precautions. Maybe there were things in place that are now dissolved, and so that's just something to
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the entire group of people that deal with situations like this were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's just crazy.
Jeremy, go ahead.
I can't see how we have a way out of this without them shutting us the entire country down for 2 or 3 weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's anything that will work.
Can just look at China. It's interesting how they talk about China's shutdown on the media. This term draconian keeps getting used, and it was the biggest shutdown of any large group of people ever in history, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do that to flex their communist fist.
Yeah.
To show their people their communist muscle and how much control they had on them. They did that because they knew if we do this now and keep everybody the fuck inside, we're going to stop this thing. That's the way we're going to slow this down. We don't have a cure, and it spreads, and it's highly contagious. So what other option do you have?
Just close the fucking doors.
Shutting it down. Now their numbers.
Yeah, they're getting better.
Their numbers are starting to show that kind of works. That's right. South Korea did the same thing. And look at South Korea. I mean, South Korea didn't even shut its businesses or schools down.
Yeah.
They just kept everybody they needed to keep in place right away.
Yeah, the speed that they
reaction to it. Yeah, putting people who look at what India is doing right now. Those videos are going around this morning of them going around with the bamboo sticks and fucking slamming people in the backs as they're walking down the street. And it's okay, that seems pretty harsh, but they've got 1.3 billion people on this piece of land.
Right.
That if they don't get inside is going to spread like fucking wildfire, and they sure as shit don't have respirators.
No, they got nothing to take care of over there.
They've got nothing, right? So yeah, I mean, it sucks to get locked down for 3 fucking weeks, but it sucks to have this spread and then lock us down for a year.
Yeah, I mean, the lockdown
right now, that's what we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at. We're not. If the NFL isn't going to play football, you're not going to a restaurant.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right?
That's when I started really thinking that like, wow, this is fucking going deep. When sports as a whole just fucking said,
Yeah.
nah, we're good. Like when that starts happening, because you're fucking with, and you know the quote has been said many times: when you start fucking with the money, you don't fuck with the money, and the money's been fucked with. So when you tell the NFL, the NBA, and they're like, no, we're just gonna kill this season. Don't worry about it. It's cool. That is insane. Like that just shows you, especially in this country, how huge that is.
I think it's a sure shit sign to tell you exactly where we stand.
And
you know what I mean?
another one of those things, and again, they could paint it however they want, but the fact that the government, the United States government, just said, you know, after all their meetings of like, man, this pandemic is really bad. How do we contain it? All right, you know, hours, lockdowns, this and that, really cool, man. All right, hopefully that works, great. And then, you know, the buzzing in the ear is like, all these people don't have jobs, what are we gonna do? I don't know, just fucking give them some money. Give everybody like a G. Could we do that? All right, give them all a G. What's next? Like, that's kind of how I feel like they did it. They're like, we just got to give people money, which is the most craziest shit like you could ever possibly imagine happening in America. You know, like.
Well, I think it's crazy because there's nothing that we can spend it on.
Yeah, well, restaurants and food that you could buy at the store, rent, you know, and that's
people are up the creek because I feel like I'm very lucky and fortunate, and we probably all are in a similar boat. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but the fact that $1,000 ding is not going to kill me is significant. But to a lot of people, like not having whether it's income, full income, $1,000 problem, and there's that stat floating around. I don't know how reliable it is. I trust almost no stats because they're all made up for sensational purposes. But this one, if it's true, is harrowing. 40% of Americans couldn't come up with like $500 or $1,000 on the spot to handle an emergency. Okay. And while the bailout we're getting isn't impressive, the fact that it happened at all is impressive. But also that money will go to good use. Someone's going to have to pay the rent. They're going to have to pay the heating bill. They're going to have to pay some basic living expense, buy diapers, whatever they can find, for the kids. A lot of people are fine, but a lot of people really are not fine. So from my perspective, I look at that and I go, it's something. I wish it were more.
Right.
I don't have a good answer. I don't have the right number.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Yeah, but remember when we're saying people, we're talking about 70% of the country.
Yeah.
We're talking about the majority of the people that live in this. I mean, clearly all of us are in better positions than those 70%. For us to even sit here and have this conversation about what it's like to make $8 an hour and not knowing and working in a restaurant and now like getting $1,200. Are you kidding me? That's like $1 million.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like a lot of those people, a lot of people who get that aren't even going to know what to do with that. So in my music venue, we've got security guards that are making minimum wage. Now in San Francisco, lucky minimum wage is $15 an hour. It's a decent hourly wage, but still not even close. Well, when you live in San Francisco, the cost of living is so high that's almost
even
nothing.
In the Bay Area, just to live in this area alone, right?
Yeah,
so
it's ludicrous.
$15 an hour is basically $7.
Yeah.
Right. Those kids work minimum. They work part-time jobs, so they're working maybe 12, 15 hours a week, right? So what are they making a month? $1,000.
Right.
I mean, this is like to get $1,500 of free money right now when you are unsure of what's going to happen down the road. And like, not to turn this on, like, not to make this a Trump thing, but when your president is clearly not in control of something and putting out these mixed messages to his base, who are those 70% of people, that money is like, it's the lifeline that they need right now. And I got to be honest with you, I think that they're going to probably have to do another round of that.
I think they
in
might.
Another month, they're going to have to send another $1,500 to those people. What are they going to do after one?
They've had these conversations, right? They definitely said, well, this can't be the only one. And I don't know if it's necessarily like, I feel like Trump's thing is like, he's going to come out and say boisterous shit. And he's going to say crazy shit no matter what. And he's even proving it now, given this situation. He's coming out and saying shit that he's just trying to make the market not completely collapse, which is kind of what, the president does need to keep the economy going in a certain respect, because maybe.
Yeah, but who's listening to that? Who's like, for people who are in the market,
right?
Like, let's say guys who have their hands deep into the stock market,
even right now,
economists,
right?
Bank guys, like, which one of them is listening to that guy?
That's a great question.
Which one of them is taking his word and running with that?
You know what? that's
see
a
any of
whole
them as
that's a whole separate question of how does the stock market work? Because how could it go up and down every day? You know, with like all this crazy fucking news, it's almost like a joke, you know. And I feel like almost his thing is he's just being a hype beast to make it go up one day so someone can make some money and then go down the next day. So I don't know. His thing is like he is what it is. But the question I had going towards that though is like, where is the next step from here? And like at what point, like what news headline needs to kind of hit? And then the guy in the chat room asked this is a very good point. What type of news story issue will lead to a sharp decrease in the market?
It's when,
when
Kobe Bryant dies of COVID-19 is when
Yeah,
people
I
are
was
going to start to go, oh shit,
Yep.
When your
or
mom-
or when your grandma dies,
Yeah.
which is 2 weeks away, probably less than that.
Yeah.
Is all of
Yeah.
a sudden all of us will know somebody who's been affected by this.
But-
yeah, there was
That's
that.
when that
Dude,
panic-
a friend of my grandma died yesterday from it. It's
I mean-
it's already happened.
There you go. Right. So and like we're seeing 1/10 of what's about to come our way at
Yeah.
best. So
Yeah, I mean,
think
look-
I think the public opinion is going to be forced to change.
I
It's
literally
not
have
that,
I have today's numbers here. New cases in the United States is plus 13,000 cases, and again, that's because we've only gotten an influx of tests in the past week. Like we were late to the party on testing, so these numbers are going to be higher. But that's
I would just
fucking
add a
astronomical.
0 to the end of every one of those numbers.
Yeah,
add
I mean-
one or two zeros to at the end of all.
As of right now, we have a silver medal in the world of total cases. Like China's number 1, we're literally like 500 behind them, and Italy is 200 behind us. So we're up there in the fucking top 3, which is crazy. It's really crazy.
And they've been in
We
lockdown.
passed
and they're
Italy?
like,
We passed Italy. We passed Italy today, guys. We did it. We did it.
I think
Yeah.
it comes down to testing, right? That's the thing is the numbers are only going to tell you as much as you can test. So if countries have a smaller population with more availability of testing, they're going to have a higher number.
Yeah.
We got more tests and we sent them to the highest, most densely populated areas, and lo and behold, those places are just rabid with this disease, which makes sense, right? A pandemic is going to spread in
sure.
the most densely populated, largest city in North America, no question.
I mean, I checked.
However,
Yeah, go ahead.
they're not sending tests to where they need to go. The strategy that should reveal the extent, like we don't know exactly where we are because we only have numbers from the places that have tests and are highly populated. So those are going to be obviously higher. So we need tests everywhere. The strategy is test everybody, and then you go, okay, this community obviously has either had it or is immune to it somehow, or enough people are healthy that they can go back to work. So let's call that a green zone. Okay, you guys are fine. We're going to make sure the high-risk populations are still under lockdown with all the nursing homes, anybody who's immunocompromised. You keep those people away from potential spread. Everybody else, you're tested, you're good to go. Keep the economy rolling. This other place, New York, that's a red zone. Like we are not through the forest here. And we've tested everybody, but we're not confident that it's done yet. So we're gonna keep that on lockdown. So this federal level lockdown has to eventually break, and they go, listen, we got enough tests. Now the states have to control it. And now you have to decide which parts of your states or counties or whatever municipalities are good to go and turn those back on. Because we can't tell everybody on or off, as a 50 state republic. It just doesn't make sense. At some point when the tests get out there, and they have to, if they don't, then we're going to be stuck in this limbo forever. But you can't have the federal government telling everybody what to do for the next 6 months. It's just not going to happen. You have to be able to start economies up little by little and then have it roll back up to the federal level.
Well, like I said, the restaurant economies haven't shut down fully. They shut down a huge portion of it, right, with hospitality and in dining and all that stuff and going out. And a lot of other industries are also impacted, right? But my question is this. What headline comes across that lets us go, okay, we can go, I feel safe to go to a restaurant and sit next to people now? Like, what is that headline? I think which goes to, like, the greater question, like, what is it going to be like? The better question is what's the headline? But, what is it going to be like when the first day comes where we can, see each other without a social distance again? Or,
It'd be great.
yeah, I mean,
Biggest
weird.
party in
Like seeing
America.
your ex.
it's going to be, but it's also going to be weird. I mean, it's going to be really strange, right? What'd you say?
It's gonna be weird, man.
It's going to be
like,
real
it's
weird.
like seeing your ex.
It's gonna be weird.
Do I hug you? Might be nice.
Is it possible that we
what
just
are we supposed to do here? It's strange.
is it possible that
Well,
we
I
just
mean-
is it possible that people just choose to stay in this weird virtual world where we could chat
I think
video
some
chat?
people will.
No. When I go for a walk, man, it's like I feel like a dog. Best time of the day.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
My
did
wife
that.
and I we go for 2 walks a day,
Yeah.
man, and
Yeah, you got to do that.
it's the best.
But look on
Love
the flip side of that, look, I have this weird fucking streaming lab, and I'm talking to all you guys. I haven't talked to all you guys in a hot minute, and it's great.
Yes.
No,
sweet.
no, I don't want to
Yeah,
live
yeah,
like
once in
this.
a
Don't get me
while.
wrong. I don't want to fucking be like, yo, dudes, let's do dinner at 7 and sit here and eat fucking sandwiches together. But
I mean, we're drinking
Yum,
beers.
yum.
mukbang, dude. You know, we're drinking, of
And
course,
other
but
beverages.
you know what I mean. It's like, well, it's very strange. I don't know who else was watching this, but the other night, Matt, he set up a game online. We were playing virtual craps together, and we were playing. We were literally rolling dice in a virtual environment.
D-Gen.
It was so degenerate. And we were rolling
was fun.
dice, and I was having a drink, and like you just start make believing you're in a casino, and I was just like, this is
Yeah.
fucking nuts. Like this is strangely fun in a weird like video game way, but like I could
That's all we
definitely. Look, I'm not trying to say let's live this life, but I could see people, kind of absorbing this and being like, maybe this is like a kind of normal I could dig. I could get into a virtual
Honestly,
world.
I don't think so. I think possibly for work.
Yeah.
But I'm in the business and industry of you need contact.
Oh, of
you
course.
need to make you feel special. Like I'm here for it, and like we're welcome, and like my colleagues, we can't function. Like it's really crazy.
Yeah,
So.
I don't see it going away. I just think like, will this be like something that people forget? Like, is this something people are going to forget? And what does it take that we get out of this? Like, what's the
I
what is the
don't think it's a
headline?
headline,
Coronavirus cured? Like, is that the headline? Like, what?
I don't think it's a headline. I think what's going to happen is you're in your own community. We're all in our own parts of the world. What's going to happen is one of two things. Either they're going to say like, we're starting to lift the order. You have to apply for
it's
like
gonna happen
a
slowly.
license.
But now stop. Just stop. Why did they say that? Like, what made them say we're going to start to lift this order? Like, what is that?
Testing.
So testing is
Yeah.
one. So this is like I have two sides of this. One is officially mandated. We're going to lift the order because we feel like the virus is spread enough. We're confident that enough people are either immune to it or it's run its course. And you're allowed to have people back in your
All right, hold-
establishment,
break.
but you have to apply for a temporary license or whatever. So
All right,
there's
pause,
an officially
pause.
mandated way.
Pause there.
Okay.
We figured out. You said we figured out that most people are immune and/or who's covered. How far away is that? Even being so conservative, how far away is that? That sounds
I have no idea.
That sounds
No
like
idea.
that
Months
sounds
away.
months. That sounds months away.
I have no clue.
That's
I
then
wouldn't
there's,
be
like-
surprised if I didn't go back to school fall.
yeah, man. I
That
mean,
might happen.
I'm not.
I would-
it's not an argument, right? I kind of agree with you, Matt, that we need that. Okay, we have it under control. We know who's eligible to get it now, and we have some kind of thing that'll ease the symptoms. But that seems so fucking far away. We can't even get people to actually not go have weddings. People were having weddings last week and shit, and cops were breaking them up around here.
Well, there's another
Well-
side to that.
I-
But go on.
Yeah, my point. Yeah, like Rebecca had a wedding. She had plans. She had to cancel. Like, but there was people over in New Jersey. The cops had to come and actually break up wedding. Like, people just aren't getting it yet, right?
Rebecca, your wedding got canceled?
Dude, it was the 21st.
Bagged.
I know. So now it's going to be a Thursday in September. Hopefully it's good by then.
It's gonna be the best weather ever.
Oh,
Can't wear white after Labor Day.
Or if you're not a virgin, so.
Whoa, risque. Well, Rebecca,
There's-
if you need to have a virtual wedding, we could
What
probably
is-
set something up in the basement here.
I planned this.
What is
whole-
this guy doing?
It's hilarious.
I don't know who that guy is. But
He is rolling one.
So the other side
Hop over to that
argument
screen.
is-
My point to that is I tend to agree that yes, when we know who's impacted, who's not, and we can keep the numbers down. Again, I don't know what the news story that breaks it says that, but that just seems months and months away. But go on with your
That's the
point.
official side.
Right.
The clandestine, we're sick of this shit. The government can come and take my shit if they try side is the one where you go, the first restaurant that opens in town, everybody's going to go over there and there's going to be a huge party. And they're going to break it up. And we're like, fine, that dude opened his restaurant. That dude opened his restaurant. And you know what? They're all just going to go, we're open.
But
Go ahead.
But who's going to go there if it's still risky to be out? Like, I don't think there's going to come a point where people are going out to like. Enzo opens.
definitely.
Enzo's
There's a
going to
point where
open his
people are gonna
restaurant and be like,
get
"Come in
up,
for
they're
dinner,"
just gonna go,
and
"We're going."
and cops are going to show up and be like, "You can't be here because it's still virus town." I don't think that's going to happen.
The logic seems pretty simple, though, when they say that we've got 12 to 18 months of a then what makes you think that that panic should be any less until that vaccination is there for us
Yeah,
to use?
I kind of
Because
tend.
for the next 12 to 18 months, every time that you go out, every single time that you're going to go out, and if this disease is still floating around, you have a chance to contract it and
Yeah.
spread it.
Yeah. I tend to agree. Like I tend to be on your side with that. I think we're in for the long
what
haul.
logic would tell you I can't find it.
Nothing suggesting within 2-3
Right.
weeks we're gonna get the headline that says go ahead back to normal. It's just not happening.
Within
No
a year.
Yeah.
Within a year to 18 months.
Yeah.
Like
Well, people are people.
Like what unless there's some miracle drug that's already on the market that we haven't found yet.
That
which
is
they
like
would've found already.
Hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin has been tested or is in the process of being
yeah.
tested.
I heard that.
There's some success with that, which is an existing drug. It's a malaria drug.
Sure.
And
So
azithromycin is a Z-Pack, but they don't have that fully locked down. But it's working for some people.
Right.
Not a catch-all, not a prevention for sure. a cure,
they're working
not-
on it. I mean, obviously they're doing shit.
Yeah.
so
that's
okay,
one
so,
thing.
so that you think that there is maybe a drug that might work would be enough to get people to go out and party in a restaurant
I think if
next
you
week if that news comes out.
Yeah, it depends
Oh,
on
yeah.
the availability.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't-
definitely. If people have an excuse, they know that there's an out, and they know that if I get it, I can be cured. There's no prevention right now. There's no vaccine. We know that. That's coming, but way off in the distance. If people know that there's an available drug that they can realistically use to be cured, they're not in what you would call a high risk group. They go, okay, that's a risk I'm willing to take because I've been inside for a month and I'm losing it.
but they're not going to be. They're not going to be allowed to.
People are going to break down eventually. And right now we're fine. I think everybody's doing a very good job of like keeping it together. And there are some people taking chances, whatever, they're out there. But I think as a whole, people are not used to being bottled up for that long. And if they're inside for a year, it's well before a year before people just start saying, "I'm done with this."
Well, to that
And
point,
you can patrol the streets all you want, but if enough people go out, like you can't stop.
well,
it.
to that point,
If there's that like, oh, I could take a drug maybe and be cured. That's your one little
But if
fake
you-
because,
And
people are
then
going,
not have it again. Right.
yeah, I don't think. See, that's where it gets me concerned because drug finding or aside, I don't think they're going to open restaurants and communal places of gathering for quite some time. You're not going to go see a show, by the end of the year. I don't think. Now that said, not what headline is it? How long can people live in a condition like this? Maybe this gets modified in 2 or 3 months where I don't even know. Maybe it's just changed a little bit, but you're still not going to be going out to restaurants. You're still not going to be socially communing, for lack of a better term. What, how long until the breakdown of people freaking out and like I already see, and of course social media is not a great indicator of reality and shit. But there's already like chats and talk. There's already it's really terrible. But there's already talks of like movements of like, all right, no pay rent April. Let's show the fucking landlords. and like I saw that and it's like, dude, I mean, who's even thinking? Like I thought for a second, like, wow, yeah, landlords gotta get paid too, so they're getting. It's just another industry that gets fucked. But who's thinking like we need to screw this dude over because he's trying to pay? Like, what dirty landlords are out there trying to kick people out now?
It's not we need to screw somebody over. It's none of us are making any money. Like you guys are the first people that I've talked to in 2 weeks that don't work in restaurants, and it's just really
But
crazy.
that's
And so
what I mean. Like everyone's not making money. Like most everyone, the amount of people who are working is minimal. Who on here is working now? Matt, are you the only person that's working? Kyle, you're working. That's 2 of you.
Yep.
But
I'm like-
Nick, you got.
I guess I'm half working because I'm teaching. I'm teaching like I transferred all
Okay.
my students onto.
So
YouTube, but I can't.
So 2.5 of 6 people are working. Almost half. We got 40%. Let's say people are working in this chat at least. And are you working to your normal capacity? 100%. Matt, I'm going to say yes for you. I believe that you're generally working from home and doing your gig.
Yeah, yes is a good enough answer.
Yeah. Kyle,
it's a more complicated situation, but yes.
Kyle, are you 100% essentially working?
Yeah, I would say I'd say just 2 things. I would change jobs recently
Right.
the entire time. And then at the same time, since I live in a nanny state and fucking socialism is shit, they're rolling out like a giant government package to cover 70% of wages for people that companies have to lay off.
Wow.
during this time.
Yeah, that's
So
kind of
that's
what.
like $1,200, right?
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's it. No, it's up to cent 5. So like they're not fucking around.
Yeah, I mean, well, those socialist countries are really good at just printing the money and figuring it out later. That's kind of the
Yeah.
game. What are you drinking there, by the way? Oh, we did this. The banana bread fucking weird beer? Or you got
I
something?
think he
No, it's
cracked him the second
the
Oh.
going real nuts stout because
Going-
I'm starting to go real nuts.
Oh, there it is. Good segue.
Topical.
Yeah, real topical. But yeah, I mean, it's just, the amount of people who are going to continue. There's people working now from home that fast forward a month from now won't be working from home. They're going to say, we don't need you, dude. We're not having customers. There's a lot of places that maybe you're working from home now because that's what they got to do. But they're going to, upper level management's having that conversation where they're like, we don't fucking need these people. We have no fucking customers coming in. Axe all this shit, outsource, whatever, like they'll figure it out. So there's more unemployment coming without a doubt. Just because you're from home now doesn't mean you're going to be working from home in a month. And it has nothing to do with the person. It's just because the economy, the foot traffic's not there. The business is not there. And I don't think $1,200 in your pocket is going to make it happen.
This month.
Oh, dude, they're fucking out of control.
3.2 million.
It's out of control.
The market didn't fucking move. They're just like all they heard.
I don't even know what you do about that.
I don't think the market moved because they were licking their chops for that humongous bailout, which they
Hell
got.
yeah.
They got that huge bailout. They're like, oh, okay, so we get our dough, no strings attached, and we're good. Business is good.
The other thing with this
Everybody
is
else can go screw, but we're fine. So people are like, yeah, if Boeing is staying open, we're gonna buy more Boeing stock.
Yeah,
the market doesn't move.
Yeah,
Here's
I mean, none of us are economists. I'm my guess and market talk is just a guess at best. But like, when what my thinking would be that when this all turns around and this is over, whatever that, let's say the headline, the world wins, we've defeated the COVID aliens, they're dead, and it's all over, and everything's back to normal tomorrow. The economy should fucking skyrocket, like it should in theory, because there was technically nothing devastating going on up until the point where it started happening that I could recall. So outside of that, the market should kind of just blow right the fuck back up in theory, right? I mean,
China's seeing record numbers now. I don't know the numbers, but
yeah, because they're at least their corona numbers are really down. They got the corona.
They've gotten everything under control.
Yeah.
They've figured it out. Their quarantine worked. It was extensive and oppressive, but it worked.
So they're up.
People are getting back to business. They're getting things back online. The only thing that's hurting
Hong
them
Kong
now is
index.
There's no one to
because
help.
the thing that's hurting them now is the fact that the world had China as like their primary supply chain, and now they realize that we should diversify our supply chain. So they're going to take a little hit in the short term because people are moving their production to India, to other Asian countries, or bringing it back home. America's even going to be able to insource a lot of other things. But once that levels out, I mean, their market is back to, it's just blown past where it was before. So once you get through it, businesses start to resume, markets recover. Now, the question is, does a market recovery signal recovery for everybody? And the answer is probably not. I don't know what
I
that
just
looks
think
like.
I just can't see when we start lifting the norms back to norm. Maybe the market recovers, maybe some jobs come back, but I still don't see when this lockdown vibe goes away. I don't know how that stops here. And then there's always going to be residual people freaking out and saying, I can't talk to anyone ever again. I'm going to get something, but like
all those bunker properties
forget-
gonna lock the door.
yeah,
the
I mean,
doors
forget
already
those
welded
people.
shut, man. They're
Like-
in for good.
Like when do when can I go sit in a restaurant and have a party and get an Uber again? Like when can I go do that again? And I
a
don't know,
year?
man. Yeah, like I
September.
yeah. I mean, I don't know when they're there's no target, there's no answer. This is just like this is kind of why I like having all you guys here to talk about, because like, what do you think in France? Like just that question, like when can you go sit in a restaurant and order a glass of wine and sit at the bar again? Like what's your gut? What's your gut on that?
Honestly, I think based on down, like they're going hard after lockdown. Pretty much everything's shut. They're just pretty much saying we're gonna bite the bullet. We're gonna support the economy until then,
Right.
and then it'll take over. But I would say like I've been over like in France for like nearly a decade. Like the U.S. is fucked. Like you guys are not capable of shutting down an entire population. How you need to shut them down for
No,
a month
We don't
to
like
stop this.
we don't like doing that shit here. And the other thing you
Nope.
got to remember, and again, politics aside, it's election year. That's
Yeah. So how do you-
then that's when the fucking crazies start
Okay.
happening, because you start talking about who's responsible for what and this and that, and that's when shit starts getting who's doing this on purpose? Shit starts getting crazy then. Because the elections are nutty. Everyone's nutty when it's election time. So that's
There's always
just
opportunities
another
to an
level. That's just
emergency.
another level.
It's just how it is. It's how people work. When you're in a position of authority if you are the type of person that feels like there's an opportunity to be had and you will take it at without hesitation, which turns out to be most politicians.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I expect that.
And an emergency happens, you go, all right. After the dust sort of settles and you can see through it all, you go, all right, well, how do I take advantage of the situation? And in an election year, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on.
No, not at
You're going to
all.
try to figure out a way to take advantage.
What's the quote? Don't let a good disaster go to waste or something. Whatever that is. I forget what it's from. But that's the gist.
Here's a mess, and I'm going to take in this chaos. I'm going to take all the.
I mean, someone does. I understand politics. You got to do what you got to do, and I get it. You got to.
Yeah, but remember what the consequences are of this. A collapsed healthcare system and the possibility of a couple 100,000 people dying across the country.
Well,
so it's not minimal risk. When these guys are about to step up to the plate, I mean, I think what you're going to see is, like, with the exception of probably Trump, is a really measured kind of person.
Well, what kind of healthcare system impact is this going to have besides being overran? Like, I don't see the healthcare industry in itself changing from this, shockingly, because they're just going to when you call up or have an issue with your insurance or something, they're just going to treat it standard issue. I would think they're not changing their shitty practices at that. They're going to come out of it and be like, "Oh, well, the government owes us more money now, so cool." I think. I'm not a medical professional. I don't know how that shit works, but I can't see them changing.
Eventually, they'll become this trickle down in the healthcare system. Right now, it's focused just on people with coronavirus, right?
Right.
As time goes by, people are going to start having heart attacks. People are going to have liver transplants. Somebody's appendixes are going to explode, and so on and so on. So and all of a sudden your common cold doesn't get the light of day.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So, like, I think when we talk collapse, I mean, that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I heard initially. I guess when you said collapse, I thought something else. The initial concerns that I heard, before it was daily updates and pandemic watch, it was, the bottom line is, this is a bad disease. Because my question then was, what is this? Is this just the flu that we don't know how to fix? Because we don't know how to fix the normal flu. Obviously, it's beyond that. But what the biggest issue is the stress on the medical system. And to your point, we just don't have the beds. So it's not a matter that we can't treat or sit on these people who get sick. It's the matter that we simply don't have the beds. And that's really shocking. I mean, I never once thought, how many beds are in America that could take in people? I just never had that thought in my mind. If you need help, you just go and get help.
My phone is going to die and I can't plug it in and also keep it on because it just keeps moving.
Apple products are terrible.
Crash.
I think I have to chow.
It's okay. Thank you for joining us, Rebecca. We'll do this again sometime.
Thank you for this incredibly
Bye, Rebecca.
Right.
Yeah, it's very uplifting.
Good to see you.
Bye, Rebecca.
Nice to meet you.
That was fun. But yeah, like the impact of the amount of beds is like crazy, because that's what they kept saying. Like, we just don't have the beds. Like, for people who got to come in, they chop their arm off outside. We don't got a bed because we got 3,000 people walking in the front door with coronavirus. And it's like, oh shit, I get it.
That's the fear is if your ICU beds are overwhelmed by coronavirus.
Yeah.
Your ICU beds for people who are, having heart attacks, like you mentioned, or have had severe trauma. Those people are either going to get in last, or just go, okay, we're going to put a tourniquet on it and hope to God that you can pull through. And so if coronavirus spikes to the point, and it's in some areas really bad, the thing I'm finding is it's very regional. Again, this may be because of testing availability. We don't know the actual numbers. So New York City is obviously overwhelmed. Maine, not overwhelmed. A bunch of cases, sure. But the only thing I've heard so far that they're lacking is the protective equipment. So they don't have enough masks.
It seems like that's mostly everywhere.
Gloves, that kind of thing. So
issue,
the shortage really is on the provider side and not on the patient side. But in other places, it's utter chaos. If you had a total spike in cases and you had all of those beds full at the same time, that's the nightmare scenario, because you end up with people who have to use those beds for other reasons that aren't coronavirus getting turned away. So your death count increases. You have a direct death count for coronavirus. Then you have a secondary death count for people who would have normally been able to be treated, but can no longer be treated for whatever condition because those beds are already secure. So, but I don't think it's happening everywhere. It's happening in some places, which is horrible. But I don't think every pocket of healthcare is overwhelmed, which is, in one case, you look at it and you say, that's good, right? Like, we don't like the things that are overwhelmed, but the fact that the whole country is not completely overrun is fine. Now, those places might get overrun, but by the time they do, New York City will have already come down. Washington will have already come down. San Francisco will have already come down. So I think different population centers are spiking at different times.
Right.
And if we don't all spike at once, it's better than if we...
It's somewhat manageable.
It's better that we don't spike at all, but, you know, if we all went at once, the whole thing would be a meltdown. So it's better than it could be. It's not good, but it's better than it could be.
Somewhat manageable, yeah. I wish we had our medical correspondent, Joe C., on the line. He could help us out. He would have some good insight. Because I don't have, I just don't have medical knowledge.
Doctors.
Yeah, that would help. I just don't have any medical knowledge. Maybe next time we do this, we'll get a doctor on the line.
The problem is like that's it's like so he's a brain surgeon, but hospital, because we're at like 1,100 cases in the Paris region, and we have 1,600 beds with ventilators. So the problem is combo bed and ventilator.
Yeah.
Because these people can't breathe. Like, their lungs are all fucked. So either a machine's got to do it, and you need to have space for them to be able to do that until they get fluids and get built back up. But that's really what's going to be the issue, is that if you're in the New York area, you don't have beds or ventilators, you're just going to have piles of bodies.
Yeah, that's what the headlines and the news stories are. And again, I don't know how true they are, but the news stories are the ventilators. There's not enough ventilators, period, for the amount of treatment that they need. And that's the problem, which sounds right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I would think that that's wrong, but I just take all the fucking stories with a grain of salt, because you just, you know.
Well, I mean, you could just take it right from Italy and Spain.
The same thing, yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's happening in real time there. So just because we're X amount of miles away doesn't mean that problem doesn't exist.
Again, like I said, we've surpassed Italy and Spain in total cases. So that's why I think, like,
and we're supposed to be behind them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, our numbers are going to be bigger because we're generally a larger country, right? But I mean, yeah, we're behind them in that sense, for sure, Nick. Yeah, I don't know, man.
And slower.
It's also difficult to compare the United States to Italy or France, because of it's almost an apples to oranges comparison, because they have different governmental structures, they have different cultural makeup, they have different population centers. So the response from different, like, you can compare that to Hong Kong and South Korea, right? Different governments, different cultural attitudes toward pandemic. Some of them have gone through it before, some of them haven't.
Yeah,
there's even a genetic or
quick,
a component where if you have certain genetic makeup, you may be more susceptible to it. So it's hard to say Italy's very small population in comparison to the United States is handling it better or worse. They handled it the way they did. And there are certain things you can take from that, but it's hard to say, like, oh, we're doing worse than Italy. Like, well, we have...
That's fair.
I don't know what the number of population is, but yeah, we're way bigger than Italy. So proportionally speaking, we're doing way better than Italy.
That's fair, percentage-wise, yeah.
Like, we can't really say for sure because there are too many variables here. So
I mean, that's another thing.
It's a good headline if you're writing for the New York Times or, you know, media, to say, like, we're doing this, that, and you get people to look.
That's another thing.
You break it down, you think, like, I don't know. It's very hard to say I can understand all these variables to say we're doing better or worse.
That's another thing. When Italy closed their borders, essentially, like, I remember seeing, oh, Italy is just on lockdown. I was like, oh shit, like, just the country is just fucking locked down. That's insane.
And then you realize how big it is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's
I mean,
that big.
but and then I've been there, so I know what they're like, which means that the people in Italy were probably just like, whatever, fuck this. They probably just did whatever the fuck they wanted anyway. They probably the amount of tolerance.
They've just been having balcony concerts.
Dude, absolutely. They've been doing no lockdowns or social distancing. If you try to tell Italians to socially distance each other, that's a fucking joke. I'm pretty sure.
Hey, did you?
Yeah, dude.
Did you read about, like, the first explosion?
Oh, your mic's cutting out. Is that just for me?
Yeah. No, it's for me too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, it's only a little bit, but it's like enough percentage that I missed that.
Hey, I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go pee. It's fine. You're allowed.
Do what you gotta do.
All right, guys, I gotta teach a class.
Yeah, dude, go beat it. That's fine. You guys could feast peace when you're in. I'm gonna keep chatting.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, dude, be good, Nick.
Pleasure.
Be healthy, brother.
Pleasure to talk, Hank.
I'll talk to you soon.
We should make this a weekly.
Yeah,
thing,
dude.
man.
I'm all right. I got nothing else going on. Let's do it again, brother. Go
Alright,
be
man.
good. Be safe,
Awesome.
man. Be healthy.
You know
See
it.
you guys.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah.
Sick, bro.
Yeah, there's Italians. I was like, these fucking Italians aren't social distancing. They're fucking making pasta together and fucking doing what they do.
Did you see the YouTube video? The platzas, all sorts of other stuff. It was pretty.
I only heard every other word you just said. I don't know what's wrong. It could just be Discord.
How is it cut now?
It sounds like, I don't know, it's like a weird digital distortion thing. I'm not sure what it is. It's not physical.
What do they cut the undersea cables? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
I got all green bars.
Yeah, I don't
You got
know.
all green. You got all green bars.
I don't know what it is that would be cutting it.
Go to Hannaford to get
You're
green
hearing that
bars.
you're hearing that too, Matt? Like he's cutting out every couple.
Yeah,
all right, it's not just me.
It's not just
Yeah,
your
you sound fine.
wacky rig.
You sound fine. It's just that it strangely just cuts out a little bit. I don't know why.
Definitely, when it comes through, it's very clear. But when it doesn't,
Yeah,
it's a hard cut. Like maybe even a connection problem. Like whatever your
Is it your weird free internet that you have over there in France?
70% subsidized.
Yeah, is that what it is? Weird subsidized free
my,
internet?
my coupons aren't scanned.
Yeah.
It seems.
Hey, get out!
No,
You
but
gotta,
they,
you gotta get your internet permission.
Yeah, maybe
slip
your
signed so
maybe
you
your
can-
papers aren't clearing on the internet side.
Dude, they already started cutting Netflix bandwidth.
Are you
Cannot
serious?
stream and you can't stream in HD because buddies. So
Oh, God, it's like
Wow.
1996. What the hell?
Ooh,
yeah,
That's sad.
waiting for FHM to load.
FHM, where's my Maxim magazine?
Oh my God.
We're missing somebody.
Rebecca left, and Nick had to go teach a class.
He got COVID. No, he had to go teach.
So we have just a smaller group now. You feel free to delete. I don't know. I said an hour. I mean, I'm gonna sit here for hours and talk. I don't give a fuck. But
I'm good for. Well, if I grab another beer, I'm good for at least another 40 minutes.
yeah, I got a little bit. I got a little bit of time. I don't think I have anything else.
To wait for
I don't
my
want to. I
stuff
want
to
to
fall
stranglehold
off.
you guys to sit.
I
And
got
talk. You know
I got a
what?
freezer full of
like a good talk.
emergency meat supplies now, so I have to wait for the thing to thaw before I
Oh,
cook
nice.
it, so.
Lucky you. I took a big order of wholesale restaurant food and delivered it to my parents and some elderly people in their area who shouldn't be going to the store. I felt like that was my good deed for the.
As you're asymptomatically spread.
You should do that.
Well,
Hey,
I
that's
mean-
what- that's a good topic, right? Like,
I've been in lockdown essentially. I really haven't left my house to go to the store, and I feel great. So I don't think I have it. I don't
so
think.
people freak out about like what they can't control. And we talked about this the other day.
Sure.
Vegas and I. But there's like the zone of control. You look at the globe and you go, I can't control what China's doing or what the other countries are doing.
Yeah.
I can't control what my president's doing or what people at the federal level do. They're going to do it. I can respond how I want to, but they're going to do it. And there are people losing it, just losing it
Yeah,
over
there's-
these
there's-
huge problems that
there's
are
some
not
meltdowns,
solvable.
for sure.
But if you want to contribute, the question is, how are you going to best contribute to get through it? How do you make the biggest difference? And it's not by freaking out about the CDC, because that's going to happen whether or not you want it to or not.
Yeah.
But how do you best contribute? And I think what you have been doing for your family and the people who need help is like, listen, I have access to a good source of food. You shouldn't be going out because it's dangerous.
And share it,
Let me
yeah.
help you out. Let
Yeah,
me
for
just
sure.
go get you the stuff you need
Yeah.
that you shouldn't be risking yourself to go get. How are people doing that now? And you're not going to like yell at the president on Twitter and be like, change. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. We know this. It's not going to affect him one bit.
Right.
But there are ways that you can help people. How do you do that?
Mm.
And I'm not saying if you're not doing it, you're a bad person, but what are ways that you've seen,
Right.
or are you contributing to this
I don't know.
in a way that's like tangible?
I see a lot of people, doing the online outreach stuff. I see a lot of people doing the charity donations online to help people in the hospitality industry and stuff like that. But I just don't know if like those things are hitting because no one's making money, So like the tip jar stuff, I see virtual tip jar, tip your standard bartenders because they're not making money, and yeah, that's terrible. That sucks for them, no question about it. But neither is fucking Joe Blow, and neither am I. So I can't tip my fucking bartender. Like I can't buy a gift card. What do you want me to do? Like.
But you're helping your family at least.
No, I
So
get
for-
that. No.
so
But
you
like
you have this internal zone of control, right? That's who your
I'm
friends and
flipping.
family.
I'm flipping
And
it
then
to.
outside of that is your community and the businesses that you frequent or you are a part of.
I'm flipping
outside
that
of
to.
that is like your city, your state, whatever. But you got to start local. You got to start as close as possible.
Well, I think
get
to your
Get
point, someone said I can
Yeah.
do this, and they set that up, and I'm sure that's helping people. I'm sure people are donating and helping shit and doing that. I have no doubt. So, I don't know. I don't know. What do you got? What do you got in France? Are you doing anything productive, or are you just drinking beer and being a degenerate?
I mean, I would say like the biggest issue. So I saw it coming to our front door, and at the same time, I have like trying to shame my mom to not fly like across the country as a
Right.
retiree,
Yeah, definitely.
and she's
don't
like,
do that.
no, it's like and she's a fucking nurse for 35 years in like cardiac care, and just all of a sudden now she's retired and fucking touch her, and I'm just like, you are the problem. You're the problem right now.
Yeah, you can't do
Flying
that.
from Daytona, where that like government worker was like, we might have 100,000 cases undiagnosed, and back to Florida, people aren't social distancing.
Yeah, like
And
we're.
you're telling like,
It was weird when I went and saw my parents. I dropped all the stuff off, and like I stood far away from them, and I was like, "All right, well, bye now." Like very strange interaction. It's very odd. Is anyone
Tell
doing
you
it?
what, man, I had to call my sister
Mm-hmm.
and have like one of the toughest conversations I've ever had to have with her about it.
Yeah.
She lives next door. My parents and my sister live next door from each other. My
Nice.
sister's got 3 kids and her husband. My
A good
parents
setup.
are,
Good setup for
in
them.
their late 60s next door. So, and they live in Myrtle Beach, which has got probably one of the slowest responses anywhere in the country.
Sure.
And had to give her the like, even though you live next door, you no longer get to see mom and dad for
Till it's over.
we don't know how long.
Yeah, we don't know.
And I know that just sucks because you rely on them every day.
Mm.
But my dad's a 9/11 first responder. He's got respiratory issues.
Right.
He
can't roll the dice
won
on that
lawsuits
shit.
against the government about that shit. He can't catch it.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to catch it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, having to like set that new reality for my family.
Was she not?
And
Was
then
your
having
sister
to call
not
my
ready
fa-
for
and then
that? Or
having to- what's up?
was she not ready to hear that? Like, or was she getting notions of it, and she just?
No, I don't think it was. No, I mean,
I mean,
don't
no one's
think it
ready
was-
to hear
I mean,
that, right? I mean, no one's
No,
ready
I
for
don't
that.
think
but-
anybody's ready to hear that. But like, I think part of it is probably where she lives, the region that she lives in, and
Mhm.
San Francisco declared a state of emergency. What seems like 3 weeks ago now.
Right.
We were way ahead of the country on like at least just warning its people.
Mhm.
And I remember even like scoffing at that when it happened.
Right.
Down in Myrtle Beach, they just started closing everything.
Yeah, that's
less than
crazy.
a couple days ago. So, point Sam was just like that was something that I didn't see coming. I was like having to have what I would probably consider maybe the toughest conversation I had to have with my sister, laying out the consequences. Like, hey, if this happens, they're going to be in trouble, and you're definitely where you live. They're not ready for.
Yeah, they're
not
definitely
ready
not ready.
for
Yeah.
it. And you have retirees everywhere around you. You have obesity everywhere around you.
Yeah.
You have cigarette smoking everywhere.
Generally
there are just no
unhealthy
smoking
people.
restaurants down there. You know what I
That's
mean?
insane.
It's like,
That's insane.
so it's like mom and dad are not allowed to catch it.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to touch the fucking mail. They're not allowed to do anything for a little bit.
Yeah, they gotta.
Let's just let's see where we are in 2 weeks, and we'll revisit this conversation.
Are they
You know what
fine?
I
Are
mean?
they
Like,
fine
let's
sitting
be-
inside?
let's- What's up?
Are your parents fine sitting inside? Like, are they cool with it as much as they can be?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it sucks, of
you
course.
know,
Everyone knows. Like, of course, they want to go see their fucking grandchildren next door, right? But
Right. I mean, I think luckily, my dad is kind of like a homebody now. I think he like just enjoys his home time
Right.
anyway, and his alone time as he's getting older. So I don't think it's that much for him. My
Don't we
mom
all?
works from home still
right.
for the law firm, so she's in the house most of the time anywhere. I mean, they go out, they play pickleball, they go food shopping, but I wouldn't say that this drastically changes their life.
Mm-hmm. Did
But,
you say pickleball?
Pickleball's
Yeah,
enormous.
What the
in
hell is
Maine.
pickleball?
Hey, I'll say this: I was my high school champion pickleball, my high school pickleball champion.
the hell is-
You gotta give me some pointers. Everybody's
What
here.
the
You wanna
hell
play
is
some
pickleball?
And when it gets nice out, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Help!
Pickleball? What the fuck is this?
No joke.
it's-
Pickleball, dude.
The
What is
fucking best sport
USA PB pickleball? I guess this was canceled this year too. The tournament.
Well,
A fun sport that combines many elements of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. All right,
it's like
this dude's serious.
It's like tennis with a smaller racket over a smaller tennis, like badminton net. Is that the gist of it?
But it's like the ball is kind of like a wiffle ball. It's kind of like a
Right,
whole
right, okay.
ball, and then
Right,
it's
right.
more like a racquetball racket.
Yep.
And there's like a couple different it's basically like tennis on a smaller court.
Okay.
And then there's a couple like different positional rules, like you can't approach this line unless the ball's been touched 3 times, and then you can come up.
Okay.
Guys,
some stuff like that.
guys,
But
the
we played it in high school, and it was like it was super competitive because it's like close action tennis with a slower speed ball, but that ball does things that a wiffle ball does.
Right.
So
if you hit it, you can spin it, and it'll back up, and you can get a top shot. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. So you can get, and then you can cut it, like even like just think how you would hit a wiffle ball or even pitch a wiffle ball.
Yeah, and it just
so weird.
You
shit
can throw
happens.
a nasty slider with a wiffle ball. It'll cross 4 feet if you do it right.
We're talking
And
pickleball.
It's fast, So
Yep.
I just remember in high school like that being the shit, kind of things. So whatever. So that's like what my parents do.
Well, apparently though,
like
just
they
to round out your pickleball though, apparently the 2020 Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships has not been canceled yet. So it looks like they're still going. I don't think they've updated their website. I don't
Is it
know.
in Key West?
Probably, of course.
I don't know. Just Margaritaville.
I've never heard of Margaritaville. I've never heard of pickleball in my life, for the record. But thanks for enlightening me.
Well, to go back to your original point about social distancing within a family.
Yeah.
I haven't had to do that, but I've had similar conversations with my family where it's like, okay, this is important that you don't move around as much, and some family members are like, yeah, that's fine, I'll do that. And other people are like, it's just the flu, right?
I'm okay.
Like, okay.
I'm okay.
Fine. Right. It's like, well, you might not be, and it doesn't matter. You can't spread it to these other people, especially the ones in our family that are not, if they get it, it's all over.
Well, that seems to be
to your family. It's like there are some people that if they catch it,
yeah, my family too.
We're lights out. Like there's no way to come back from. You can't have acute lung damage.
No.
At some point for some people, and it's like when it comes that close to home, it's hard to have that conversation. I empathize with that. I think it sucks.
To that point, I don't know everything, the ins and outs of the coronavirus, but like, I guess that's part of the issue here is that this thing could live on surfaces for days, hours to days, and you can have it and not even know it, and not even have any symptoms and give it to someone and literally never get sick. Like, I guess that's possible. I don't hear like a full report of what it is and how it is, because I guess we still don't fully know, which makes it part of a pandemic, right? If we knew everything, it would be better.
I mean, there are articles that you can definitely read and get all.
Yeah, but they're all, but there's just more information on it that like, all of those things are true. Everything I just said, I've read in an article. So is all of that true? It could live on a thing. I can have it and literally never see a symptom and give it to someone else. Like, is that possible? I don't believe these articles, man. They're put up by the man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of like line.
Right.
I can do this for a couple of days and some surfaces longer. I'm sure people's bodies hold on to it longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for it's different for everybody, and I think that's part of why this is such a big problem. If it was a flu,
one of the scariest things is that kids can carry it, but they don't show symptoms of it at all.
That seems terrifying. That seems terrifying that anyone can carry it, not show any symptoms, and then give it to somebody, and then they get sick. And then you can't even. Oh, it doesn't even matter who gave it to you, right? The blame doesn't really make a difference. It's just you have it now, and like.
I mean, what we're looking at is 2/3 of the country or 1/3 of the country getting this thing. So.
I mean, it's on the table. That's not out of the question.
Oh, I think that's a pretty good estimate. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, we're approaching.
The smartest people in the world are working on those kind of numbers. So I think it's like those numbers are in preparation of like what's coming our way.
Yeah, and with more testing, we're going to see more numbers. Again, not a medical expert, but obviously the numbers are going to be going up, right? I mean, it's definitely they're not downward trending. There's still new cases coming in, so and a lot for us because again we're behind the curve as far as testing goes. I don't know.
It's fucking weird. I'll tell you whatever it is. It's fucking weird.
It's weird.
I'm gonna take a little pause here to go. I got a hot episode of Joe Exotic to get into.
Oh, okay, great.
What did I just
So-
walk into? What
I don't
happened?
know. He's going to do a Joe Exotic. Oh, speaking of Joe, all right, Kyle, thank you for joining, buddy. Appreciate it. Appreciate you,
Cheers,
fella.
no problem.
Beat it.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you, dude.
Yeah.
So we got Jeremy and Matt left. Yeah, if you guys want a break, we could stop or whatever, but I'll keep chatting. I like a good chat.
I got about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's do 10 and
We'll
we'll
go 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do 10 minutes and we'll cut it. That's cool. This has been fun. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird times. It's just weird times overall. And again, like whoever said it earlier, like new normal. The other thing, people relate this to 9/11, or they're saying just like the sense of camaraderie, and essentially it's just something that everyone in an area can get behind. But it's bigger than that. I don't think people across the country felt 9/11 like people who lived in
The world, dude.
Yeah,
That was an attack on America.
that's what I'm
It was like
saying.
America,
Like,
but like
people who
France
lived in
wasn't like America. They're like,
yeah,
well, help, I guess. I don't
like
know.
people who lived in New York, New
Everybody now is like,
Jersey.
coronavirus.
You lived in the tri-state area, you were like, wow, 9/11, this is fucking terrible and atrocious, and it really hit you. You live in Wisconsin, you're like, oh, fuck, we got attacked today. This is really terrible. It's a much different vibe. The 9/11 relations are, I don't know, similar but different, This is a worldwide... That's why I said, like, anyone in the fucking globe is experiencing something very similar to this, and this is a very rare event that that's the case. That every country is, every person in the world right now has this fucking hashtag of COVID-19 in their brain every day they wake
COVID
up.
alien, man. It's like the same.
Yeah,
deal.
man. The aliens are
the
here.
big fictional story is like Independence Day,
Yeah.
attack from Mars. Like we all have to get together and fight the alien. It's not really an alien. It's just it's here. It's here, and it's something that's weird and strange, and it could kill everybody. Black, white, green, blue. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do. It could kill you. So we all have to figure out how to get through it.
Yeah,
It's the same thing as like fighting an alien. It's just, unfortunately, a fact of life now.
it's really strange. It's just really strange.
I
And
think
like,
it's okay to be freaked out too.
yeah,
I think
totally.
There's a lot of people that are freaked and feel freaked, and I think that initial panic that people had I think is
Definitely.
warranted to an extent.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I think so it's like I think this is an early conversation. I think it's just like I think if we do this next week, this conversation, everything that we said will be different.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I tend to
Yeah,
agree with
so-
that. Something else too. Like I was telling someone else. I don't forget. I probably told a bunch of people this. I was like, it's so important now, like today or whenever you're hearing this, is that like you're focusing on yourself and both your mental and physical health. Like in so many ways, it's so much more important. Like now, because like. Yeah, it's fun to sit inside and drink and eat everything and be a fucking pig, right? Because like people are doing that and joking about it online and like, yeah, that's great and all. But what are you gonna do 3 months from now when you're eating like a pig still because the food's still coming and your body is like fucking eating itself and then the fucking disease comes up on you and your body's just like, nope, I'm done. Like it's important to be physically healthy now, almost more so now, and mental health is almost like 10 times as much because now when we're sitting inside for weeks. People start getting fucking stir crazy and people start getting nutty. And then, you start rolling social media into it and people start reading, crazy people getting together to do, whatever. Like who the fuck knows where this shit goes, but keeping your fucking mind and body and spirit and like yourself together is 10 times more important today than it was 3 months ago, And I don't think people are even ready to hear that. They're like, nah, this is almost like the vibe I get from some people is like, this is almost like an excuse to kind of slack or do whatever. And it's like, I think it's the opposite. You really got to dial in right now. It's important. You can buy yourself a little slack time because you're not allowed to do certain things. But by and large, you got to dial the fuck in and keep yourself in check because otherwise, 5-6 weeks from now, you'll be off the deep end, man.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about what you had said before about like what contribution you can make to the situation.
Yeah.
I'm racking my brain as to like what I could do. Like, I feel like staying at home clearly is the first thing that anybody can do to
For
help
sure.
the situation.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful.
All right, like what's next? And I'm not even saying that in a combative way. I'm just kind of like really racking my brain. Like I got my family to stay put. I feel like I've spoken to most of my friends at some point, checked in on everybody else. Like what else could I do right now?
Here's the strategy I've been taking. And again, this comes from somebody who is still working for now. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's not a guarantee. Take whatever skills and things you have that you care about and love, and share it with everybody that you possibly can. It doesn't involve physical. If you want to go out and play, if touch football is your thing, okay, maybe you can't play touch.
Maybe readjust what you're gonna do.
Maybe you got to recalibrate. But for me, I love to design, create, and experience games, right? Or worlds in general.
Sure.
That's what I love. And so if I can give that little bit of light and reprieve to my friends and family whenever they're willing to take it, that's a good start. Now that doesn't, put food on their table, and it doesn't combat a virus, but all the other factors that we're dealing with right now, like the loneliness, separation, anxiety, depression, that's a gift that I can share with people to say, listen, we're going to have some fun. It's going to be, you have to stay challenged and motivated, right? Playing games is manufactured conflict. We don't have, our real conflict is out there. And as long as we're doing the right thing, we're in here. That's the best we can do. But take what you love and take what you care about and give it to everybody in the best way you can. And that's a start, right? That's day one. We'll see where we are in a month, but that's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, man, I can't agree with that more. Like we've been, you, me, and a bunch of our friends, we've been using Discord, and everyone else who joined this call, I had them get Discord because this is like the platform we've been using to talk. And I'm talking to all my friends on here, all my video game friends, and all kinds of friends are just on here, and it's a great platform because it's almost like I come in and check in here. I come in and I do my shit in the morning, and then I come down and I go online and I check my emails like I normally would, and then I open up, Discord and who's around. Hey, what's up, dude? Just a quick touch base. It's like a new way that I'm just touching base with people, and then we end up playing video games because Discord is very video game friendly. That's like where it started, but that's what we end up doing. And yeah, I mean that's just another social outlet, and it's like in this time of like social weirdness, it's the one of the only ways that you can kind of be social is fucking play fake craps, and do that shit.
Yeah, Big Light is the band that I'm in has been trying to put this record out, and so now it's like, okay, how do we put a record out in a time where like it's the most unconventional time to put a record out? Like, how do you do this? So like it changes our content up, it changes our approach to everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Like some of the challenges that are coming up, I think have been pretty good, at least for my mental sanity, at least like thinking differently in my industry. Like, how do I, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
It's forcing a lot of us to think outside of the box.
I think that goes for everybody everywhere. I mean, right. I think everybody is. Everyone's approaching whatever it is they do differently. It's weird, man. It's just a weird time. I got new normal is the word, the buzzword of sorts, and I don't know if it's a new normal because I think, at some point we're going to be back to whatever normal was, and I feel like people will forget this period of time. No matter how long it goes.
I hope like I said earlier, I hope the most important thing we get out of it is that if it goes, I would love it to go back to normal, but I would not like it if we all forgot or whatever framework that we should have in place is not in place. That would be a complete failure. So if we come out of this, I don't know how long it's going to take.
Sure.
I'm not a prophet. But when we get back to that normal, we will have a packaged system that says when this happens and it's a pandemic, here's what everybody can expect. Here's where the money goes. Here's what you're supposed to do. There's no question anymore. It's like, okay, self-quarantine, self-isolate, social distancing. We all know what that looks like now. So when the headline says pandemic on the horizon, we do all the things to prevent it, and then we triage it the way we know how, and we use the information we already have. If we forget all this information, this happens again, we're stupid. Like we totally messed up. So having a framework for that to manage that chaos will be the best thing that comes out of this in terms of like the whole picture, for dealing with it later.
I don't even know if I have like mental capacity to go into this, but does anybody honestly believe that will be some kind of learning lesson for our leaders? Do you think that they'll like? It
kind of has to be already, I mean, by default. Like, I don't know if anyone's going to.
It would have been. I think we all maybe thought that there would have been a little bit more kind of something put into place. Like, hey, here we go. Like, pull those ripcord and let's go. Like,
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I don't know if this directly qualifies for, and again, this is like, we're going to wrap in a minute, but maybe next week we'll talk about it a little bit more. I don't know that this qualifies as what Nicholas Taleb would call a black swan event. A black swan event is like a 9/11, 2008 market housing crisis, stock market crash in 1930, those types of events, the Fukushima nuclear plant meltdown. Joe, you're probably right. So if you call it a black swan event can only be predicted in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
So we were not able to predict this because we didn't think it was ever possible. And comparing it to Fukushima, they only built that power plant to withstand the biggest earthquake they've ever experienced, but not a single point on the Richter scale more. And then when that event happened, they were like, "Holy shit, how did this happen? We did this. This is impossible based on the data we have."
Yeah.
So right now, it's impossible based on the data that we have. Next time, it's not impossible based. We have the data, so I think that at the very least, we will go one notch higher on that scale, which is the wrong way to look at it, right? We're not preparing for that infinite downside and a minimal amount of preparation, right? But I think overall, we will definitely up the notch to say, okay, well, this is not going to be a black swan again. We might get blindsided by another one, but this one we couldn't have seen coming until after it's over.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like, those those projections were put into place already, though. I mean, a lot of people were calling a virus probably next to like a nuclear fallout the biggest threat to civilization, and they've been calling that for something like that for a long time. So I think the red flags have been there for a really long time, and people our leaders ignored it, or weren't smart enough to see the warnings, or maybe weren't warned properly, So I think the threat was always there, which makes me angry, I think, a little bit, going like, you guys weren't ready for this. You had no plan in place for this. There was no like, wait, you got to go and now fight it out in Congress for money for 3 days. Like, you're gonna put this 3 days. Like,
I'm surprised they got through that quick.
Like,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I figured they were gonna be fine about that for a week. I
Yeah.
really believe that.
They were like,
this is
"Oh,
gonna go
another day."
forever.
I was like, "I'm shocked this shit's even on the table." They're talking about just giving money to people. That's how fucked they are
It's
internally. That's how
It's
fucked.
happening.
That just shows you how fucked they are in their meetings. They're like, "We're just gonna have to give money to everyone, right?" And no one has a better idea. They're like, "Yeah, that'll do something. What else? Crazy, man."
I'm not even like, it's like I feel like I'm not even trying to come across as negative about the whole thing. It's not that. It's just, I think I'm just like, like I'm naturally being like led in that direction towards, like, just basically what I was saying, getting back to what I was saying, is I just thought we were going to be in a better off position right now. I guess I had more trust in our leaders or like our system.
I don't know how much I could put it on the leaders or the system as much as like, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to really blame. I mean, we could have reacted quicker, and then, leaders blame other countries not telling you and stuff. So I don't know who's to blame, but like, we're reacting pretty quick from at least what they're telling us. I didn't know if someone had this on their desk 4 months ago and didn't do anything. I don't know.
Yeah, Joe in the chat brought up a good point. I think the recent response was weak. Having the knowledge, in December, and not acting upon it in a decisive way was a misstep.
Yeah.
But if you go back, we've known the quote unquote virus is a looming threat. If you look at that from a persuasion perspective, and you're sitting there as a leader, and you have a bunch of constituents who voted for you, and you say, listen, we can put a bunch of money into this hypothetical virus threat, or we can spend money on something that's really important right now. And everybody goes, well, I'm not going to pretend that this hypothetical virus threat is important to me. I care about this thing right now.
Right.
And that's just how people work.
Yeah.
They go, the issue at hand is more important than the hypothetical issue in the future. But even if we know that the hypothetical issue in the future could be absolutely catastrophic, it's in people's, mostly politicians, and the people they're trying to persuade.
Yeah.
It's in their nature to be like, we're not going to spend $1 billion on virus prevention. Who gives a shit about that? There's no virus.
You're not getting.
Let's spend it on the military or whatever. But the point is, they're not psyched about it, so it doesn't get done.
You're not getting reelected on preparedness for something that happens in the future. No one started the coronavirus coverage last week saying, and yeah, 12 years ago, whoever was president did this thing, and that was cool. Like, that's just not happening. You know, like, no one's
People
getting
go,
credit.
that's not, it's not an issue.
It's just, it's all today. What, you know, it's the same in every business. What have you done for me lately? What have you done today? You know, and what are your results? Not, well, we prepared for this. We prepared for this. Then the headline reads, well, none of this happened. Why are you preparing? And then,
here's another thing. The United States has never had to deal with this.
That's also true.
However, China and Southeast Asia has had to deal with SARS, MERS, H1N1, all of these diseases. They've already handled pandemics, so they have a framework.
Yeah.
It's there. They know the threat exists because
true.
when it happens, they go, "Oh, this is just like SARS."
Yeah, that's a good point.
We know what to do. And the United States is like, but we didn't give a shit about SARS.
Yeah,
like we sort of gave a shit about SARS.
That's
right.
a very,
Hence
that's
the South Korea
it's a
response.
very,
Absolutely.
It's a very valid point.
So now, hopefully, the attitude going forward is, with a looming pandemic, you go, here's how we handle it, and this is our framework. Whether that framework's good or bad or effective, it will be more effective than not acting on information you've had for 3 months.
Yeah, that's fair.
Doing it
having
when you do.
having some framework is better than no framework, right? So, yeah, that makes sense. Well, this has been good. Should we wrap it, I guess? Because, again, I'll sit here all day and do it. But
Yep.
Thank you guys for joining, and thanks everyone else who was here. I think that was
Pleasure.
super cool. Maybe we'll do this again. Jeremy, I hope you have a good day over there in California as we wrap our days over
We
here.
got a lot of daylight left. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. Matt, Play Architect, thanks for joining. We'll shut this down now, and then we'll pick it back up. So thanks to everyone who joined. Thanks for all the chat. Thanks for this. Make sure to follow Rebel Vision TV on Twitch. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, all those things, whatever you're watching on. Thank you for the questions. Peace out. Rebel Vision TV, we'll see you around 7:30 for our weekly Civilization 6 game. See ya.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about Civ. This is going to be great.